Hello viewers, I'm SB and this is Dota Underlords. This is a thing I've been playing quite a bit of in my spare time these last few weeks. Yes, you heard that right. After a full day of recording stuff for the channel, I often still go and play more video games because I have a problem, I guess. So I thought it would be a fun change of pace for us here to just do a couple of episodes each on the games I've been playing after hours, starting here with this one that I'm honestly still pretty bad at. So if you're not familiar with Dota Underlords, this is an auto battler. It's in the same genre as auto chess and the League of Legends, one of these, the name of which is escaping me at the moment. Let's just get right in here and I can show you what it is. There's kind of a lot going on in this game, so it might seem a little overwhelming at first if you're totally unfamiliar with the thing. I'll do my best to explain it, but there's going to be stuff happening pretty quickly. So we're going to play standard. You can see there my ranking is Lieutenant 1, which I think is like around the middle of the pack, rating skill-wise. So what you do in an auto battler is you put together compositions of units and have them go and automatically fight other players' compositions of units. So we're going to be shown a hand of 5 units each turn, and we have been given 5 gold to start the game with, and we'll earn more gold as the game goes on. With which to buy our units and to do some other things that we'll talk about here as this goes on. Usually, you just go right into the game. I'm not sure what's happening here with somebody's connection. Alright. Well, for reasons that are not going to be clear immediately to all of you, I'm not really wild about this opening grip of units. We're just going to grab some stuff to start with here. I like a Snapfire and a Nyx Assassin, a Drow Ranger. Let's get Drow. Let's just do this for right now. So you see, we place them onto the battlefield. The positioning totally matters, and you have to. There's a certain amount of trial and error here as you just like learn the unit's AI and the way that they tend to perform, and then they'll fight automatically, right? So you probably noticed that in the store, as we were looking at the units, each one of them had a couple little boxes below them. Those are their alliances. The alliances of a unit don't necessarily do a lot for the unit itself immediately, but as you build up multiple units of an alliance, you start to unlock special additional effects. Like, for example, our Drow Ranger is Heartless and Vigilant and a Hunter. So if we have, if we mouse over here, Heartless, you can see, if we have 2 Heartless units, all of our enemies get -4 armor. If we have 4 Heartless units, all of our enemies get -9. If we have 6, they all get -16. I'm gonna re-roll these items. Every so often, we'll be given a choice of items. I'm gonna grab us some Gloves of Haste here. So in addition to, like that, I think we're gonna modify our play here a little so that we can start completing some alliances. In addition to their alliances, each unit has, of course, their own basic stats. They all have different, attack damage and attack rates, and each unit has at least one ability. Like, you'll see when we actually get into combat here, most units have mana bars, and their mana fills up naturally over the course of the round, and also they get mana from dealing damage and from taking damage. And when their mana is full and their cooldown is off, they can cast their ability. So Bristleback has a very short cooldown ability that he's casting a lot here. Did not save his life, but he did an awful lot of damage. We can see there's a variety of reporting tools up in the corner here. We can see the damage that our units did, and if we flip through these, their DPS, their damage taken. We can see who's tanking, who's healing, who's getting stuff done. Okay. So that's kind of the basic idea of it. When we buy multiple copies of a unit, if you get 3 1-star copies of a unit, they combine into a 2-star. 2-star units have higher health. I'm gonna make an executive decision here. Do this thing real quick. Don't worry, I'm gonna be doing stuff that I'm not fully explaining. Don't worry, we'll get to all of it in time. So you can see her stats are a little bit better than they used to be. Also, generally, a unit's ability will improve in some way when they gain stars. Her Precision Aura is now a 20% bonus to attack speed instead of a 10%. I probably don't have to tell you that one of those numbers is larger than the other one. It's the number one thing I learned in college. So things are going pretty well for us so far. You can see every time that a round concludes, the player whose units died takes damage based on the strength of the winning player's remaining units. Just gonna sell this guy and we're gonna sit for a minute here. So you can see we're doing quite well. Some players have taken some damage. I guess a couple of guys never fully connected to the game, which is quite unusual. And this indicator here is that we are on a win streak. So you might notice every time a round ends, we make some money. Every player gets some money at the end of each round. You get more money if you won that round, or and you get additionally, you get even more money if you're on a win streak or on a loss streak. And you get another source of money called interest. So we'll see the breakdown here in a minute when the round ends. We are doing all right so far. Don't let this fool you. It's not going to keep going like this. I always feel like I'm doing well at the beginning of the game, and then at some point things turn. What do we want item-wise? I'm not wild about any of this. Okay. I like a Crystallis. I like damage and critical hits and stuff. So yeah, you can see here we got 1 interest. You gain a gold worth of interest at the end of the round for each 10 gold that you're holding on to. So I'm going to not spend any money for a second here. I'm trying to establish a little bit of an economy. Interest is capped at 3 gold per turn, so I'm trying to get us up above that 30 gold threshold so that we can just hold there and keep getting free money forever. So let's talk about our alliances a little bit and what we're kind of building in. Of course, we've got a level of Heartless, so all of our enemies are more vulnerable to physical attack. Armor just makes you take less damage from units punching you in the face, as you might imagine. It's fairly intuitive. And then we also have the Brawny Alliance going. All Brawny units get bonus max health for each kill by any of your Brawny units over the course of the game. Right now, our Brawny units are doing okay. We have 2 kills on Bristleback and 4 kills on Snapfire. So, 90 total health. Obviously, this keeps growing over the course of the game. It's good to establish a couple of Brawny units real early on, if you want to try to run with this strategy. I think things are going well so far. We're going to grab us a Tusk, but I'm, again, intentionally not spending, trying to make sure that we're above that 30 gold threshold. Now, obviously, maintaining our win streak is also worth a lot of gold, so I'm not an expert at economy maintenance here, and I haven't done any reading or anything. I don't know what the consensus in the community is for what the right way to do this thing is. But my feeling is wins and losses come and go, but interest is steady. Interest is reliable. Of course, if you can get interest and maintain your win streak, obviously that's pretty good. We're making crazy money every turn. Which means that we can be a little bit aggressive with our rerolls. Let's grab a Tusk here. So every time I press this button, we pay 2 gold, but we get to see a new group of 5 units. A little reluctant to pick up Wind Ranger. We'll grab us another Beastmaster here. Next turn, I kind of want to... After this battle, I think I'm going to level us up. So in addition to spending money on units, you can spend money to just gain XP. I think we're going to lose this one, unfortunately. Well, there goes my win streak. Yeah, you can see here, we're accumulating experience. 1 experience at the end of each round, win or lose. When we can buy experience at a rate of 5 XP for 5 coins, and every time you go up a level, it adds another unit. It increases your cap of units on the board by 1, I should say. So when I spend 10 gold in a second here after the round ends, we'll go up to 5 placeable units, and that's how you continue to expand your alliances and your pool of stuff. I think we're gonna throw Tusk down. Tusk, in addition to being a delightful walrus man, gives us our second Savage. So all of our allied Savage units will gain some attack damage each time they land an attack. Most effects in the game, and this is no exception, only last until the end of the round. So your Savage units are not getting increased attack for the entirety of the Underlords game. That Brawny Alliance is a little unusual in that respect. what we're seeing here is that we're starting to come up against opponents who have developed their team a little bit. So you can see, like, this guy has 30 less gold than we do. He has aggressively spent gold on rerolls, probably, and as a result, he has more 2-star units than we do, which obviously makes his team quite a bit more powerful. I would also say that he's kind of running better units than we are. I'm honestly... Drow's okay in the situation we're in. I'm not wild about Drow as a unit. And that's just stuff that you learn as you play a lot of the game. Obviously, there's a lot of characters and a lot of items and a lot of alliances that do a lot of different things. Boy. I'm not wild about any of these. We're going to pick up some arcane boots. We'll put these on Pudge. Then we're just going to go digging for extra copies of our units. I'd really love to get some 2-stars going. Okay. So we're about to have a 2-star Beastmaster on our bench, which is a thing that we're going to want to rectify. That guy wants to be in play. Beastmaster's a really good fit for us. He's brawny, so not only will he be tough for us, but his early kills will contribute to the growth of our brawny effect. And then he's also a hunter, which we're sort of building into. So the Hunter Alliance gives your hunters a chance of attacking multiple times very quickly. Obviously, it's a pretty big boost to our offense, which I think we're starting to need. It looks to me like our damage is a little bit low. The Heartless Alliance has helped. 4 armor lost is quite a lot. It's a pretty significant boost to your offense. Here we go. And at the beginning of round 10, you get to choose your Underlord, the namesakes of the game. What do we really need? We're going to take a Nesix. We're going to take a Nesix because she's a healer. Our units are pretty big and pretty tough already, so healing is going to go a long way. Her just sort of in the back, away from the enemies. And then I forgot I didn't actually buy that Beastmaster. Well, that's not ideal. I was going to do it after the round started, because at the beginning of the round, like right now, your interest for the round is locked in. You could no longer spend money on anything that would help you this round. Right, so they, during this time, we could spend down below 30 and be okay. Try to make sure that I'm following what's going on here in the round, though. So you can see, our Underlord has a special bar. It's not exactly mana. That's like her ultimate bar. When it fills up, she gets to do her ultimate only once per battle. Our Underlord's ultimate is dropping this giant golem on our enemies, which stuns them, and then obviously the golem punches people. He's not doing a great job for us here. This guy we were just up against is doing quite well. So we're approaching level 6 here. I think I want to buy us up to level 6 pretty soon. Yeah, let's grab a Pudge. We could use a Pudge. We could use more stars on our Pudge. We have a lot of options here for maxing out our Brawny Alliance. They're showing us a lot of Brawnies. I wonder, man, maybe we should take that Juggernaut. I'm wondering whether we should be more focused on just making our existing units tougher rather than trying to get into this Hunter Alliance for more damage. Because, like, we're getting run the hell over now. But it's not... This is a place where I still struggle. It's not clear to me whether adding toughness or whether adding damage would have been more effective to help, to help battle the outcome we just saw. I'm gonna grab this guy for the moment. Ooh. That's a pretty good reroll. Because obviously... Oh, that's also pretty good. So I feel like if we had just added a little bit more damage there, maybe things wouldn't have changed so much, because I think our guys would have just all still gotten killed. They don't do a lot of damage when they're dead, right? Like I said, I'm not necessarily great at this. So our interest for the turn is locked in. I'm going to buy us up to level 6 here. So at the end of this round, we'll go up to 6, and then we'll have room for a 6th unit on the board. And we might want to reconfigure things a little bit so that we have a Hunter Alliance. So our Nesix is constantly summoning little demon archers, in addition to constantly shooting health into all of our units. That extra little bit of survivability is helping somewhat, but obviously not enough. We are now, with this defeat, falling into last place. Although this little white glowing indicator here tells us we're on a loss streak, so at least there's at least there's some extra gold to be made there. I think we're going to pick up a Ristal Circlet. So there are a couple of these items in the game, hats, that add an alliance to one of your units. We'll talk about why I want to do that in a second here. Let me get our stuff into place. So I definitely want to run this Beastmaster, and then I also want to find a spot for this Mirana. Who can we pull for the Mirana? Who's not super relevant right now? Honestly, maybe that's a bad idea. I'm gonna pull the Snapfire for a second here, so that we have a functional Hunter alliance without breaking any of our other alliances. Even though she is certainly not bad damage. All right, we got a nice early kill on their Underlord. You may have noticed our Pudge's ability is that he uses a hook to grab the enemy unit that's furthest back and pull it toward us. So a lot of people, me included, I've got my Underlord in the back. A lot of people put their high value, high damage, but generally low toughness units in the back. Pudge is a good counter to that strategy. But of course, if you notice an opponent has a Pudge who is powerful enough to survive to actually use his ability, then you can counteract that to some degree by repositioning your units. Maybe put something relatively tough in back. There's a lot of positioning and strategy that goes on here. So I made one of our units a demon just now. So let's buy some stuff here, and the bench is starting to fill up, and I don't really have a plan. Again, this is like a part of the game where I start to kind of like lose the plot a little bit. Maybe I should buy Tidehunter. Maybe we should give up on this Juggernaut thing. I'm going to grab the Tidehunter. Okay, let's talk about this demon thing. So the effect of the Demon Alliance is whenever a demon casts a spell, for 4 seconds, all of your demons are silenced, but the guy who casts the spell gets a huge damage bonus, and that damage bonus scales up with the number of demons you have. It's nice to have a demon or two on your team when you have an Essex, because if you note, the Archer here is a demon, and the Golem is also a demon. So we effectively have two or maybe even more demons that are not represented on the board, meaning that when our Tusk throws his big punch, which has a cooldown that is the same length as this silence, he gets pretty big damage boost, and then his ability here on a 4-second cooldown causes him to do bonus damage based on his attack. He does 350% of his attack damage, so all that stuff dovetails together really well. And we're starting to win some rounds. Beastmaster is just like a super good unit, and having him up with the Hunter Alliance active means he's just doing tons and tons of damage. Bristleback's getting to shoot all of his quills into everybody. You can see every time, every few seconds, he's hitting everyone within 2 squares of him for a considerable amount of damage. Comes that... Oh, nope, she didn't quite get her Golem cast off before she died. That's a shame. I guess, actually, Tusk's... This demon thing might not be working for his ability, because it might be the case that he's getting the damage bonus after casting, and then it goes away right as the cooldown of his ability expires. So I guess that's not ideal. But he's still casting frequently and getting a lot of bonus damage. I'm gonna grab this Tidehunter. I think we might be transitioning... Oh, man, I was about to say transitioning away from this Juggernaut idea, but then you had to come and give me a 2-star. So our Bristleback's doing a lot of damage. Our Hunter Alliance is definitely getting us some damage. We're having some problems with Bloodseeker. I think this guy is not the only team that's running Bloodseeker. This guy could be a little bit of an issue sometimes. So you can see he's constantly healing here. What's actually happening there is that every time an enemy unit dies while adjacent to Bloodseeker, he heals for a considerable amount of health. He bleeds every second, but his attack speed goes up as his health goes down, so he just runs around, hovering at low health, mauling your units over and over again, and healing constantly while doing it. He can be a real issue. I think I'm going to take big giant attack speed boost. We're going to throw that on one of our hunters. Alright, so how are we doing on this brawny thing? We're building up a fair amount of bonus health. I think I'm going to, this round, as soon as the round starts, I'm going to buy us up so that we'll We'll drop 20 gold on our XP meter so that we'll go up to level 7 next round. We are the lowest level in the game, which is not necessarily by itself enough to lose you the game. We're running fewer units, but if our units are stronger and better synergized, that may not actually matter. We've been holding out all right for the moment. So you can see that Pudge Hook going off, getting rid of the Crystal Maiden nice and early, but unfortunately she did get her ability off. Oh, hey, this guy has a Lich. So one thing we haven't really talked about is that the units are in they're in different tiers. The tier of a unit is a rough indication of its power level and also determines its cost in gold. So Morphling is a tier 3 unit, Slark is a tier 4 unit. That Lich that we just saw there is a tier 5. That's another advantage of this guy being higher level than us, in addition to the fact that he just has more dudes on the table. We're gonna change up our positioning a little bit here. I want Juggernaut near the enemies, but I don't necessarily want him getting beaten on, personally. We want him near the enemies because he has a short-ranged AoE attack. We've now completed the first level of the Warrior Alliance, so our 3 guys right here have a bunch of bonus armor. 9 armor is a lot of damage reduction. Not super wild about this Tidehunter thing here. But also we have a Bloodseeker issue. Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm still a little nervous about our damage. Like, it's taking us a long time to get through our enemies. Granted, part of the reason it's taken us a long time to get through this guy is that he's doing kind of the same thing we're doing with the warriors. He's just very, very tough. Oh, that was really close. Their Bloodseeker did a huge amount of damage over the course of that. Alright, show me something good. What I'd really like is to go to max hunters. I'd like to get to 6 hunters so that we have an even stronger version of this thing. I also I want to get this Tidehunter in here. If we're not going to play Snapfire anymore, we need to probably sell her and get her off the bench. We could just drop the Juggernaut. As good as the Juggernaut is, he's probably not... I mean, he serves a very different purpose than the Tidehunter. Juggernaut is a tough unit that can do damage. You're not seeing a huge effect from it here, but in general, that spinning ability that he does a lot of damage. I'm not sure why part of the reason our enemies are not really taking any damage from it is because this guy's running the Knight Alliance. So you can see all these units with the shields floating around them are benefiting from a significant amount of damage reduction. Click over here. Yep, he's got 6 knights, so all of his knights are taking 25% less damage, and then an additional 25% less damage as long as they're adjacent to another knight. That's a problem for us. We don't really have a good way of dealing with that. Like I said, sometimes it gets away from me a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and commit to some plans here. I would love to find another Tidehunter. I think my plan is, in fact, to replace our Tidehunter, or to replace our Juggernaut with a Tidehunter. The Juggernaut's he's not doing enough damage to justify his position. I'm gonna try doing it right now. It might not be a good idea to replace the 2-star Juggernaut with a 1-star Tidehunter, but the Tidehunter is going to give us a little bit of extra crowd control while our other hunter units, you can see there that thing he does, while our hunter units focus on the damage dealing. I think Juggernaut was probably just trying to walk the line a little bit too much. I think we need to commit to our warriors being there to hold the line for the hunters specifically. That said, what do I know? We're in last. I guess we're in 5th place, though. We're in last because other people died. Other person died. I guess there were only 6 real players in this game. Ooh, a Caden's Blade. So, this thing makes your attacks deal a significant amount of pure damage. Pure damage does not get reduced by damage reduction effects. I'm going to put it on our Tide Hunter, because he doesn't hit very hard naturally. I'm going to clear some room on our bench. We have some things that we're not really building toward. So you can see with our Pudge, we're starting to get actually pretty close to a 3-star. There we go. 2-star Tide Hunter. That's very helpful. So in order to make a 2-star version of a unit, you have to get 3 1-stars, right, and combine them. 3 stars made of 3 2-stars, and we have a 2-star on the board, a 2-star here, and most of another 2-star for Pudge. So he's not a hugely powerful unit or anything. He's certainly not going to benefit from being 3-star as much as, say, like a Bristleback might. But every little bit helps. And I will say this, like Pudge, a 3-star Pudge is very tough. He will survive forever. He might actually... Yeah, I wonder if it might be better to give him the Cadence Blade. I will say, we have our Cadence Blade on a guy who attacks very slowly. It would be nice to... Actually, yeah, maybe it should be on a Hunter. Now that I'm actually looking at it. Let's put it on her. We'll give this attack speed bonus to Bristleback, who has an unusually high attack damage. Yeah, that was probably definitely the thing that we should have done right away when we got it. Alright, there's that 3-star Pudge. So he now has 7,000 health behind his 14 armor, because remember, he's a warrior and he's benefiting from that alliance. He will be up here all day. Hopefully, the enemies will be very focused on trying to kill him, and they will not get a whole lot done on the rest of our units. There's kind of a lot happening in a round. Yeah, this looks like a loss for us. This guy's damage is just too good. Well, eliminated in 5th place. That's not so bad. An unremarkable affair, the game tells us. And of course, you know, it's a free-to-play game, so there's a battle pass, and you level up, and there's cosmetic rewards. If you're playing video games in the year 2020, these things are unavoidable. I think we could do one more in this video. These are not terribly long. And of course, there are daily challenges, you know, they want you to play every day, and... I do enjoy video games, but man, I wish they could feel just like a tiny bit less exploitative, you know? So yeah, that's the basic shape of a game of Underlords. You buy units, you build alliances, you create some powerful stuff, and then you get killed by a guy who's playing the game way better than you are. In terms of what we can learn from that last game, things we might do better. Having a plan is good. Probably you're supposed to have a plan. Let's try to figure out what we want to do early on here. Of course, you have to be flexible. You can't just like commit to something because the units on offer play a pretty big part in what you can get away with. Let's grab this Queen of Pain. We're 2/3 of the way toward a rogue alliance here. Grab us this Slardar, I think. I like Slardar quite a bit as a frontline fighty type unit. So the 2 units we have in the back line here are Assassins. Assassins, when you have enough of them to complete the alliance bonus, they get a critical hit chance, and their critical hits also reduce enemy healing, so you can use this as a way of defeating certain types of longevity strategies. But another thing that's important about Assassins is that I think it's all Assassins, if you place them far enough away from enemy units, will just teleport toward the enemy's backline to try to pick off whatever their weak guys are, you know, casters and archers and stuff. So that's why I have placed them so far back here. You know what? 20% increased ability damage is pretty good with Queen of Pain. She has a pretty powerful spell. I think let's grab Kea for her. So every 6 seconds, she gets to do this scream that deals damage to all nearby enemies, and she's a demon, so she's got the demon bonus most of the time because the cooldown of scream is quite low. I think we're gonna not buy anything here. We're just gonna take it easy. I don't see anything that's really blowing my mind in conjunction with the stuff that we already have. This guy's on 3 hunters already, huh? This is probably pretty good for us. His units are going to be a little bit on the soft side. Although Queen of Pain is taking her sweet time building up her mana. Okay, I think we've got him. Weaver's a good unit, though. Maybe I'm being overconfident here. No, we're good. Queen of Pain screamed him to death. So our Nyx Assassin has this spiked carapace. Whenever he pops all the spikes out of himself, the next time enemies attack him, they get stunned, and they take the damage from their attack. Carefully timing this ability would be really powerful. It's a shame that we can't do that, because that's not the way the game works. So we could hold on to gold here. I'm really not sure what the right play is, financially speaking. I tend to like to go up to 4 right away, because I find I have the best time establishing a win streak this way. Ooh. Okay, we're going to take this Ember Spirit. We might reconfigure our thing a little bit. So half of your rounds take place on your own board, and of course, you can use all the cosmetics and stuff that you're acquiring through the Battle Pass to customize your home board. And half of your battles will take place on an enemy board. You're playing home games and away games, which I think is a cool way to handle the cosmetics. It gives you access to some stuff. See, this guy's dotted some note blocks with different notes on them around here. Also, scarecrows and stuff. I mostly filled my area with like big brawny dudes who just swing their arms when you click on them. Alright, we might be transitioning into... Okay, hold on a second. We might have a different strategy going. I'm gonna make some quick changes here. Oh, hold on, we'll fiddle with the next round. We might be transitioning into a spirit strategy. I like spirits a lot. Sometimes spirits work. There's definitely an argument to be made that we should maybe like intentionally lose a couple of rounds. I guess it really depends on whether I think we can get some legitimate wins off here. Falling into a losing streak is fine. Getting on a winning streak obviously is pretty good. What I don't want to be doing is like winning and losing alternating rounds and not getting any kind of streak bonus going. I think for right now, let's run it like this. So we have 3 rogues up now, or 3 assassins up now. We'll run our assassin bonus for the moment, but I would like to get a spirit thing going, and then I don't know if we get a 2-star tiny, then maybe we run a 2-star tiny instead of that slaughter. Deadeye makes the unit focus on the lowest health enemy. To be perfectly honest, a Mantle of the Flayed Twins on an assassin seems like it could be pretty good. Oh, and they give us the 2-star Ember Spirit. I like Ember Spirit a lot. I think he's very, very good. Let's take a reroll here. I'll take a Slardar. We'll just figure stuff out. So Ember Spirit's fun. He's an assassin. He's also a spirit. We'll talk about what that means a little bit more if we manage to get the Spirit Alliance going. But his ability is he teleports around and attacks all the nearby units with his normal melee attack. So you can see he just did it there. As far as I know, that attack has the normal assassin chance to crit, and also any attack items you get on him can contribute to those. He is very powerful. I think he's probably one of the better assassins. And obviously, it's nice to have a 2-star anything at this point in the game. So I think we're pinning a lot of our hopes of victory squarely on his weirdly rounded orange shoulders. Alright, I'm gonna not reroll here, and in fact, I think we're gonna sell our tiny. I want to be over 10 gold here. I want to be getting some interest. I'm gonna grab this Weaver though. I think the Insect Alliance is pretty good. If you have the Insect Alliance going, little spiders run in from the side of the board constantly and just like bite your opponents all to death. I think it's particularly powerful early on. Did you see that Ember Spirit killing all 3 of those guys with a cast of his ability? That's pretty nice. So who knows? We might end up running out Weaver when we hit 5. I'm not sure, like, the only other thing that we're really building toward right now is spirits. If we could get a storm spirit so that we could complete the spirit triumvirate, I wouldn't mind a little bit of that. We could try to build up to warriors, just like have some warriors to hold the ground for, ooh, that's very nice. Yeah, we'll take that. It's going to cost us some interest, but I think it's worth it. I'm debating, do I want to do some... Let's not do any re-rolling right now. So after this round, if we win this round, the win streak bonus will probably... It might get us as high as 30. Obviously, I would love to be back up above 30. If you're wondering why our Queen of Pain wasn't teleporting in to fight, she was locked in place. She'd gotten rooted by an enemy ability. I don't know exactly how much money we're going to make here. It's probably going to be in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 gold. So we can hang on for a second, get ourselves above that 30 gold threshold, and then try to hold out. Okay, so we only made 10. That's a shame. If we had made 11, we could have sold Weaver, get up to the threshold. I don't want to sell off our Earth Spirit because I really would like to evolve into spirits here. It's a pretty strong damage play. So for the moment, we're just going to let this happen. I like Slaughter a lot, like I said, just as a general tough unit. He's a tough unit who has pretty good attack damage. His ability is to dramatically, like very dramatically, reduce the armor of an enemy, which obviously plays very well with our attack damage focused rogues, or assassins rather. Oh, he's not going to survive to get his ability off again. Oh, never mind, he totally did, thanks to teleportation. I think we're going to narrowly pull this one out. Alright, 5 streak. So as your streak gets stronger, the gold bonus for it gets higher. Ooh, we got some interesting options here. A Stone Hall Pike. We got it. I think we got to take the Stone Hall Pike. Right, because our man already has 13 kills. So this is quite a lot of damage. And then sadly, this Mantle of the Flayed Twins is kind of going to waste. Alright, we have a little bit of gold to play with here. I would really like to get some stars on my other dudes, and also that's a Storm Spirit. After the round begins, I'm going to buy us up to level 5, and then we're gonna have to reconfigure things a little bit here, because I might not want to get the spirits going right now. I might want to just hang out, just kind of continue our current plan. So Queen of Pain's not teleporting here because she already has attack range on our enemies. He hits so hard. Wow, that was 500 damage there. When your units get a crit, you get a little pop-up showing you the amount of damage to make it more satisfying to get a crit. Yeah, we're absolutely being carried by Emperor Spirit here. What a man. What a strong man. Buy ourselves up here. So we're definitely not playing the Weaver. I don't think there's any chance of that happening. Do we want to pick up a tank? You know, honestly, I think a tank is probably what we need in this situation. So, there are 4 different Underlords, and they all have, like, a thing that they're good at, but they all also each have more than one build. I think for right now, we're just going to drop Earth Spirit. No, hold on. Let's run Storm Spirit out instead. Okay, I think we have a reasonable build. Ooh, check out the scary snowman. So that's going to taunt our units. Units nearby are going to be compelled to attack it by its extreme creepiness. That's a really, really good Ember Spirit strike there. So you can see this guy is very focused on like summoning additional units. Got a summoner strategy going. Unfortunately, not quite enough to deal with us. Ember Spirit's really good against summoner strategies. Ember Spirit and Queen of Pain both, because their abilities hit an unlimited number of targets, just people who are close enough. So I'd be lying if I said that I was building toward that for that reason, but summoner strategies are fairly common at least at the rank that I play the game at. I think partially because it's kind of a new thing. People aren't yet sick of the novelty. So when we level up, we're probably going to put our third spirit down. We have Ember Spirit and Storm Spirit out now, although Storm Spirit not getting a huge amount accomplished for us. We're getting to the part of the game where 1-star units are not really cutting it anymore. But once we have all 3 of our spirits down, once you have the Spirit Alliance completed, anytime a spirit casts their ability, they become charged, and then when you have 3 charged spirits, they teleport and create a triangle of energy between them and deal a ton of damage to all of the enemies within the triangle. It can be very, very powerful. It's also a little unreliable because sometimes they'll form the triangle in such a way that it only contains 1 enemy. I think they're supposed to always make it contain at least 1 enemy. Sometimes they... I have seen them miss. Sometimes they do just hard miss. So I think after the round begins, I'm going to buy us up. We can do a little bit of rerolling here. Oh, yes. Excellent. A little bit of rerolling, digging for useful units. Mostly, I just want to make sure that we get leveled up. So, in order for the Delta Slam, the triangle attack, to go off, your spirits do have to survive to actually be able to cast their abilities, which is not a thing that always happens. Especially with, like, Storm Spirit. Our low-tier Storm Spirit has a very, very small health pool. Uh-oh. They created a demon clone of our Ember Spirit. That bodes pretty poorly for us. Joel's tough, but I don't think he's tough enough to survive this. So this thing where they create a demon version of our guy is an ability of an Essex. Like I said, each of the Underlords has 2 different builds. You get a random one of them offered to you each game. The Essex build that doesn't summon the Golem instead curses one of the enemy's units so that you can take control of it and make of it a terrible shadow clone. Grab here a Silver Edge, because it gives health and attack speed, both things that are obviously pretty useful for us. Also, like I said, I do want to buy up to a new level. Alright. We are on our way to a 3-star Ember Spirit, which obviously... You know what? This is worth losing a point of interest for. Making sure we have more 2 stars out. Earth Spirit has a tendency to get murdered if he is not leveled up. Although that's also true of Storm Spirit, obviously. Oh, I think we're going to get our Delta Slam off. Okay, well, it was a little unimpressive because the enemy team was dead by the time it happened, but at least you could see you could see what it looked like there. So in addition to it just dealing some magic damage, each spirit has a unique effect that they commit to it. When Earth Elemental's part of it, he silences all the enemies in the triangle. Storm Spirit's part of it, he disarms them, so they can't use their normal melee attack for 3 seconds. I think Ember Spirit just sets them on fire, just causes them to burn for a small amount of damage. It can be pretty powerful. So we're at 6 units right now. If we wanted to try to complete our Assassin's Alliance, we'd have to focus on that pretty hard now. Or we could complete our warrior, get rank 1 of our warrior alliance going. Those are both reasonable paths forward. Ooh, actually, Tidehunter as a way of completing our getting our warrior alliance up is maybe a good idea. He also would give us a rank of scaled, which reduces magic damage against our whole team, not just the scaled units. So you can see here, like, some of the difficulty with the spirit thing is that sometimes it can take a very long time for the Delta Slam to become available because one of your spirits is not getting mana the way he would like. The mana that units earn from taking damage can be very significant. So, like, I put this guy off to the side over here because I was afraid he would die before getting to do the Delta Slam. But the fact that he's not getting hit directly is impeding the Delta Slam in its own way. Maybe let's move him in here and we'll give him the bonus health and attack speed. Grab Speculative Templar Assassin. Basically just like do this thing. I like to set the units that I'm not actually using yet off to one side, and the units that are just part of leveling guys up off to the other, just because it helps me keep things straight. So when our Ember Spirit's ability goes off here, that's going to be pretty strong. Ooh, but I think he's going to die before... Nope. He did not die before the Delta Slam. We got it off. And that was pretty alright. This guy's played his units in the corner specifically to avoid effects like Delta Slam being very good against him. And that was fairly effective for him there. I think we only got 2 or 3 of his guys with it. Playing your guys all back in the corner has its downsides as well. There are an awful lot of units that deal area damage focused on one unit, or like Keeper of the Light shoots a big wave, where if a big wave of magic, where if all your guys are in the corner, they're all going to get hit by it. Obviously, it's pretty bad against Ember Spirit and Queen of Pain's attacks as well. But you know, he beat us. It worked out for him. You can't say it didn't. Obviously, it'd be pretty cool if we could get a level up going on some... Oh, we found a Void Spirit. Okay, I need to make room on the bench. It's looking to me more and more like we're probably not going to push through to maxed out assassins. We're going to grab this Void Spirit. Void is a 4th spirit, so he makes it much more likely that we'll be able to hit our Delta Slam. Oh, that's a really good one. Look at that. That was devastating. That's what you're always hoping for. Not the way it always works out. So we're about to level up, right? We're about to be in a position where it makes a lot of sense to push the level up. Trying to look ahead and think. Max level is 10, so you can have up to 10 units on the board, but leveling up to 10 is very, very expensive. It does not happen most games. Okay, so we can take another Silver Edge. We can take a Mango Tree, which will throw healing fruit at our units. Let me re-roll these. Take the Refresher Orb. So after your unit uses an ability, he just can probably cast again almost immediately. This. I'm going to wait until the round starts before I buy us up. We're going to throw this thing on... We don't actually have anybody on whom it will be super relevant at the moment. Put it on Earth Spirit, I guess? It might be better to put it on Queen of Pain. I'm enjoying her scream being so powerful, though. You look at the damage meter. She's getting an awful lot of damage out of a well-executed scream. Alright, pretty good work from Ember Spirit there. You can see this this purplish area on the ground is the doing of their Enigma is his name. Oh, look at that terrible Delta Slam. There's a real Delta Slam is a land of contrast thing going on there. The frustrating thing about that round is a good Delta Slam, where like the spirit on the right side went to this square instead of this square, probably would have won us the round. They had a lot of stuff on the table, but it was a lot of low health stuff. Let's just buy ourselves up. Place our Void Spirit. A reroll or two. Alright, we'll grab that Ember Spirit after the round begins properly. So, Void Spirit is going to create some portals, deal some damage to enemies, reduce their armor, which obviously will be very good for our assassins. And then the effect he adds to the Delta Slam is he breaks affected enemies, which means he turns off their passive abilities. That term is not super evocative of what it does, but that can be very powerful against some units. Like for example, against Bloodseeker, if he is broken, that thing where he heals for 35% of his health every time he's next to a dying unit doesn't happen, which obviously makes him a lot easier to deal with. That's frustrating. We had several enemies really, really low there. We just needed like a little bit more damage to win that round. How's our man doing? 30, okay. Almost 39 kills. That Stonehall Pike is an impressive amount of damage now. So we're just looking for Maybe I shouldn't be just looking for levels on our existing units. Maybe what I should be doing right now is focusing on putting together enough gold to level up again so that we could get Tide Hunter out here. We could have a functional group of warriors in the middle of the board, and then also Tide Hunter is an awful lot of crowd control. So we're working toward the 3-star on a couple of our units. And so, like, I think this is, strategically speaking, this is a part of the game that is a little bit more complicated than it might at first seem. And a part of it that I really have trouble with is, like, the strategic value of forcing rerolls to level up your units versus trying to hold on to gold to build up enough to take these later game much more expensive level ups. It's tough. It's tough to say. I'm gonna grab this Nyx. We're probably not actually going to be able to make a 3-star Nyx. So it give me 35 gold. So if I wanted to go to 8 without burning my interest all to hell, and you can see a couple of people have managed it. Probably what has happened here is they've rerolled a lot less than I have. I've spent a lot of gold on rerolls. In fact, we're the only people not at 8. That makes me a little nervous. In fact, that guy just went to 9. I think he's sort of cashing out. He thinks he's not going to survive for very many more rounds if he doesn't do something drastic, which, given his position on the board, may be totally right. Ooh, that's a pretty good Delta Slam. Unfortunately, not quite good enough. And again, we're going to have this thing where a bunch of enemies survive with very, very low health. That's a shame. So for each star of surviving enemy is 1 point of health that we lose when we lose to that team. Which unfortunately means that, like, a guy who is at 10% does just as much damage to your player health as a guy who is at 100. Doesn't help to hurt them if you don't actually kill them. Okay, we have some interesting choices for items here. I think I'm gonna re-roll off of this. Ooh, butterfly's nice. Let's pick up a butterfly. We could use a little bit of survivability on... a good combination of survivability and damage on some of our units. Let's throw this on... Maybe throw this on Queen of Pain and move the Kea over to Storm Spirit. And then we definitely want to buy this Queen of Pain that's in the shop here. You know what? I'm gonna bail on trying to make 3-star Nyx Assassin happen. As you level up, the types of units that you can see change. You can see we've gotten high enough in level that our chance to see tier 1 units has gotten pretty low. So I think it's just unlikely that we'll see enough Nyx Assassins to complete the 3-star. Boy, I thought this was going pretty well at the beginning of the round. Yeah, this guy's team is working out. He is on a streak. Well, we've made it into the top 6 again, but it's looking like things are getting a little bit rough for us at this point. I really want to get this Tide Hunter down and move the Refresher Orb onto him. Let's see, this round we're going to be at about 60 gold. Yeah, alright. After this round starts, I'm going to buy us up to level 8. That'll still leave us in a pretty good position financially. We have 38 health left, which is... I don't know. I'm not sure where the inflection point is, where I should just commit all of our resources to the board and assume that I will be unable to level further. Because it's somewhere, right? That point totally exists. I just don't know where it is. And, you know, I don't know if it's right to go to 8 here. It might be... Wow, that's a good Delta Slam. It might be the case that we'd be better off just power re-rolling to try to finish off Queen of Pain and Ember Spirit. That might be the better overall strategy. Alright, when the round properly ends, we'll go up to 8. We still got our 3 points of interest. We can, at the very least, push up to level 9 quickly afterward if we decide we're not going to try to buy the whole way up. Okay, 2-starring the Void Spirit is very helpful. Let's get you down and give you a Refresher Orb. His ability, stuns multiple enemies and deals some magic damage, can be very, very powerful if you can do it twice. And from here, it's 40 XP to level 9, and I don't really know who we would build toward. We could build toward creating the Void Alliance. Void Alliance, obviously, very, very good against high health enemies. We're not seeing a lot of players doing like a brawny thing or anything, though. When we're losing to people, I think it's mostly... Wow, that's a terrible Delta Strike. We actually Delta struck none of their units. That's pretty bad. That's not how you want that to go. Oh, look at how much better their Delta Strike was. It hit 100% of our one unit. Yeah, spirits can be a little unreliable in that way. Well, alright, another player went out this round. So we are now... It's looking fairly likely that we'll make top 4. If we make top 4, that's at least, that's going to adjust our rating upward. Putting together the Slardar is unrealistic. Storm Spirit could happen. Void Spirit, I'm not even going to bother buying another Void Spirit. Okay, there we go. 3-star Queen of Pain. So now she's got very, very good combat stats. Her Scream does 400 damage now. The percentage boost to her attack from Demon is going to be very meaningful. And this is the reason I wanted to give her Butterfly, was that the attack speed combines really well with the attack damage boost from being a Demon. Alright, the corner play. It's effective against our boy. Tidehunter's using his ability to stun one tiny enemy summoned unit. Maybe a slightly inefficient play there. Yeah, his corner play is working really well against our Spirit thing, but it's not working so well against Queen of Pain and Ember Spirit. Gosh, I wish we had Ember Spirit up at tier 3. So our assassins have a fair number of kills between the two of them, or between a lot of them. These are all very good items. I'm going to take Vladimir's Offerings. This gives us an aura. This is some armor and lifesteal on our units. And I guess at this point I have to decide. Am I trying to make it to level 8, or am I trying to make it to level 9, rather, or am I just sacrificing resources to live here forever? We're gonna hold off here. We're not gonna buy anything. We're gonna buy our way up to level 9 at the beginning of next round, and we're just gonna put another Storm Spirit on the table. You can see this guy's doing the same thing. Having multiples of a spirit, so having multiples of the same unit doesn't increase your level of that alliance. If all you have is 3 Storm Spirits, you just have one level of spirit. You have one spirit effectively, but once you have enough spirits to, that was terrible. Once you have enough spirits to activate the alliance, then each one can individually charge and thus make room for your Delta Slam to happen. So we're just going to jump in on that thing. Okay, so only 3 players left. Top 3 is not so bad. I feel much more confident about the way this game went. I feel a lot better about this. All right, let's just go ahead and throw everything out there. I'm gonna play a second Storm Spirit. You like Storm Spirit for this because his ability has the lowest cooldown of all the spirits. We could even... Well, no, never mind. I was gonna say we could even try to get a 3rd Storm Spirit on the table by like shuffling our units about, but that's probably a dumb idea. Alright, so this is the guy who's cornering. Increasing the number of Delta Slams we pull off is probably not going to be super helpful against him. Oh man, especially when our spirits came down in such a way, like they could totally have killed some of those guys in the front. That was a better Delta. But yeah, you can see how frequently they're going off with the 5th spirit on the table, and in fact that enabled us to beat him. And that's something. So when there's an odd number of players left, somebody fights a ghost, effectively. If Legend won the round, Husli wouldn't take any damage, but if Husli's ghost wins, then... If Legend loses the round, then he loses life. I'm pretty much, at this point, just re-rolling for more Storm and Ember Spirits. We are not going to be able to get up to level 10. There's not enough time left in the game. If you manage your economy better, you can get to 10. I'm not sure if it's a thing that you should even be trying to do every game. It might be the case that some games just unfold at a faster pace than others because of the fact that the damage players take from losing rounds is based on who survives the round. Right, so intuitively, sometimes you're going to see 10 losses that result in 30 damage, and sometimes you're going to see 10 losses that result in 10 damage. And I think looking at this round number, we're coming up on the end pretty rapidly here, and it's only round 28. I think this has been a fairly fast game. Ooh, that game we beat, our ghost beat the one guy and we beat the other guy. That bodes pretty well for us. Now obviously we got to be wary of our opponents trying to change up their positioning to take advantage of our positioning. Mostly what that would mean is the other spirit guy might corner. Oh, the guy who was cornering is changing his strategy out. Oh, I see what he's doing. I see what kind of clever nonsense he's pulling. I don't know that we have a good counter to it. So he's trying to line up his units, we may see here in a second, in such a way that his Medusa is closer to us. Oh, his name is HSLL. Yeah. Medusa she's a Gorgon, right? So she has an ability to turn you to stone with her gaze. Terrible, terrible Delta, guys. There was nobody in that. Okay, better. Good work. All right, the other dude went out in third, so that's good for us. I think we're gonna win this. It's close-ish. Yeah, okay. So yeah, the Medusa's turn you to stone ability has a limited range, so she wants to be closer to us when doing it. Aiden's Blade is interesting. We might just want to make one of our guys really tough, or maybe I want to re-roll, and that didn't work. Let's take a Moon Shard. Hey, this guy has 150 damage on his attack. That's pretty reasonable. An attack speed boost on him, I think, is totally fine. Show me Tidehunter. Yeah, alright. So Tidehunter, his ability, in addition to gaining damage, gains range. You can see there, now we stun all enemies up to 2 cells away, and then he hits his Refresher Orb and does it again shortly afterward. They take advantage of our opponent putting all his guys over to the side here. This is going to reach all the way to the edge of the board now. Oh, he got stunned right as he tried to do it. Okay, he went off. Alright, so 2 big stuns. Gives us some time to pull off a couple of truly horrible Delta Slams. Really, really bad work, guys. So as you can tell, even within a matchup that's running pretty much the same from round to round, you see some variance. There seems to be a little bit of... maybe it's randomness, or maybe it's just like complicated. But there seems to be a little bit of variance in the way units target. In that case there, he had a stun ability that bounces from unit to unit, and the bounce direction is random. So in some games, our Tidehunter wouldn't have gotten stunned there. I wouldn't have gotten stunned at that moment, and our stun would have gone off a split second earlier, and who knows if that would have made a difference in something dying. So there's variance. It's not an entirely deterministic game, and sometimes that can be really frustrating with things like your units, your Spirit's Delta Slam placement and whatnot. But on the whole, I think there's enough strategy here that this is satisfying. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think we'll probably do like one more of these before we move on to the next game. That is going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I mean, listen, if you want to see more Underlords, let me know in the comments. Maybe we can swing back around to it after we get through things. And that is going to be it for us for right now. I already did this part of the outro. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's real late and I'm tired. Come back next time, tomorrow, for a couple more games of this. That's how the outro goes, and we'll see you then.